Performing Magic and Mentalism for Persons with Autism. Chapter 2, What Autism Is and What Autism Is Not. My name is Mark Brunner. Autism, also defined as autism spectrum disorder, is a neurodevelopmental condition that impacts the normal development of the brain, primarily in areas of social interaction, communication skills, sensory processing, behavior, and certain cognitive functions. Individuals with autism typically have difficulties in verbal and nonverbal communications, as well as interpersonal activities, such as leisure, playtime, work environment activities. Generally speaking, autism will appear before the age of 3. And autism is referred to as a spectrum because the characteristics and challenges that are associated with autism can vary widely in terms of type and in terms of severity from one person to another. No two persons with autism are alike, even though there are similarities oftentimes within that range. Autism, just as a matter of interest, is diagnosed approximately 4 times more often in males than females, boys than girls, given the fact that most of those diagnoses come early in life. Its prevalence is not, and I repeat this, its prevalence is not affected by race, it is not affected by religion, it is not affected by socioeconomic status. Now, here, what follows are just a few explanations about the phraseology that I will use throughout this discussion and encourage you to use in your daily conversations, should you have them, about autism. Individuals with autism often refer to themselves as being autistic because that's a first-person self-identification. Therefore, it's acceptable. If I am on the autism spectrum, it's perfectly fine for me to refer to myself as being autistic. However, some persons with autism are highly offended if others who are not persons with autism call them autistic in third person type of reference. So because it's so very individual as to how persons with autism feel about how others refer to them, this discussion will refer to, quote, persons with autism, unquote, or, quote, persons on the autism spectrum, unquote. Now, to provide a more comprehensive understanding of autism, I'll deal what autism is and what autism is not. This will be our background for effectively performing magic and mentalism to persons with autism. What autism is: 1, autism affects how a person's brain processes information, particularly in relationship to social interactions, in regards to communication, and with respect to understanding the world. 2, persons with autism often, not always, but often have difficulty with verbal and nonverbal communications. Some may have delayed speech, others may be completely nonverbal, while others, in fact, may have very advanced language skills, but still struggle with the nuances of social communication. The codes, the silent messages that we give each other can sometimes be a challenge. 3, persons with autism may engage in repetitive movements like hand movements, hand flapping, rocking back and forth, or they may have special routines or rituals that exist because they find them comforting. 4, many persons with autism are highly sensitive to sensory inputs. That means sound, lights, textures, or they may under-respond to stimuli because they are seeking stronger sensory experiences. 5, reading social cues, talked about this or touched on this just a minute ago, such as understanding the emotions of others or participating in typical social interactions can be very challenging for autistic individuals. They may prefer solitude. Many will struggle with making direct eye contact. 6, persons with autism often have a very strong focus or a passion for very specific, very particular subjects or activities that can lead to just a very deep expertise in highly defined certain areas. And 7, it's important to know that autism is not something that a person grows out of. It's a lifelong condition. It's also equally important to know that support and coping mechanisms can very significantly improve the quality of life over time for folks who are on the autism spectrum. Now, the other side of this, what autism is not. Autism is not an illness. I'm going to repeat it. Autism is not an illness. It is also not a mental disorder. Extremely important. Autism is not a mental disorder. It's also not a condition that needs to be cured. It is a neurodivergent way of being, which simply means that it represents a natural variation in the human brain function. 2, autism is not a one-size-fits-all condition. Each person with autism has his or her own unique experiences, challenges, strengths, weaknesses. That's why it's called a spectrum. 3, autism is not caused by bad parenting. Autism is not caused by social circumstances. Very importantly, autism is not caused by vaccines. Current research suggests that autism is a combination of genetic and environmental factors that play a role in individual human development. 4, the stereotype that autistic individuals lack emotion or that they lack empathy is incorrect. In fact, people with autism can experience deep emotions. However, they might have difficulty in expressing those emotions, or they will express them differently than is typical to find. They may have also difficulty in interpreting the emotions of others. 5, although some persons with autism may have intellectual disabilities, others have average intellectual capabilities, and some have considerably above average intelligence. So autism is not a barometer of intelligence. Autism affects communication, autism affects social skills, but not necessarily the cognitive or intellectual abilities of any person. In summary, autism is ultimately a different way of interacting. Autism is a different way of perceiving the world. It's not something that is wrong. It is not something that is broken. So it's important to focus on understanding and supporting autistic individuals in ways that honor their unique strengths and their unique challenges.